Hi, everyone. Welcome to NJGAE Presents. Sorry, we're starting a little bit late. So, happy Easter, happy Passover, good Lent, happy Holy. It's a very festive time of year, and today we're going to be talking about arts advocacy, which should be happening all year round. And with that, I'm going to introduce the people with me today. But before that, I'm Jocelyn Jeffries. You guys know me. One of the things I take part in is I am a state thespian officer, and we got to do a really awesome opportunity, which Mr. Zachary Bates will be explaining a little bit for us as we go. So, you go first. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I am Zachary Bates. I am a graduate of Gloucester County Institute of Technology, class of 2013. I also am the Arts Advocacy Chairperson for the New Jersey Thespians, as well as the Career and Technical Education Committee co-chair with the fabulous Lindsay Shields from New York. We're as part of the Advocacy Leadership Network that's hosted by the Educational Theater Association. And this is my, I think, fifth or sixth Arts Advocacy Day.
Okay. Gia, you go next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gia Scazzaro. The school that I'm from Borntown Regional High School, Troop 6803, representing. I'm vice chair of the State Thespian Officers, and I've been attending lots of advocacy meetings, so I'm excited to be here and talk about it today.
Okay, Courtney, you go last.
Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Sabagal. I'm from Hightstown High School, Troop 3991. Woo! And I've also been attending a lot of arts advocacy meetings this week, so I'm also very excited to talk about the subject.
Awesome. So with that, now that everyone's acquainted, Zach, do you want to go first, kind of explaining the summit which we just went on, and then also you explained a little bit on your arts advocacy background, but you could go in even more depth.
Sure. So the event we just had was sponsored by the Educational Theater Association. It was the Capitol Hill Week. So this was started, I believe it was 4 years ago, by Jim Palmerini, who was the education and policy advisor for the Educational Theater Association. And he started it so theater would have their own voice on the Hill. So then we also give out our Legislator of the Year award. The first time I went, we were really lucky and honored to have Leonard Lance from New Jersey, who was in District 7, and he was the award winner. So we've been doing it every year since. It's usually in the summertime, and obviously with the way the world is right now, we weren't able to host it in the summer. So we decided to put it in the middle of Theater in Our Schools month. We thought there was no better time. So the students had the opportunity to meet with staffers from all of the New Jersey delegation that's in Washington, D.C., and Gia and Courtney were able to lead most of those meetings, which was awesome. They were able to kind of talk about some things that we wanted from the legislators to support, and just give a chance to tell their theater story and why theater is so important to them, and why theater needs to be part of a well-rounded education. And it was nice to know, and I'm sure the girls will agree, that so many staffers had a connection with theater. Like the one we met from Mikey Sherrill's office played. I'm sorry, no, she was from I think Bonnie Coleman's office. She was Maria in West Side Story, as in her senior year. So it was so cool to learn how much of these staffers had a connection with theater.
Absolutely, that's wonderful.
So. And I was gonna say, my arts advocacy background, I went, just because I was interested. I was just getting involved in the state board. We never had that position before. So I went to this event with Mr. Wiley from Northern Burlington, Miss Gargis from Northern Burlington, and Miss Little. And it was cool. I kind of fell in love with it. The next year, we had an appointment with every single office. We had over 15,000 steps. And they were, I think, ready to strangle me because we walked so much. But it was a great experience, and we were able to meet quite a few legislators. We even met Andy Kim in an elevator, which was pretty cool. We have a selfie with Andy Kim in the elevator. So that's the best part about Washington, D.C. is you never know where you're going to have your meetings. A group so big as ours, we would have been meeting in a hallway most likely. So it was nice that the kids got the chance to have a little bit more time with the legislators because they weren't crunched for space. then next month they're going to be or I guess this month now, they're going to be going to the Americans for the Arts National Arts Action Summit, which is also virtual this year. But that summit is more focused on all arts, whether it be the visual, the performing, music, dance, all the disciplines. So there's a little bit more that they ask for, obviously, and we're more in support of the National Endowment for the Arts because since it's a government agency, it can't advocate for its own budget. So that's kind of what we do. So we'll be starting those meetings in about 2 weeks and doing it all over again.
That's awesome. I'm super excited. I know that Courtney and Gia are. So with that, also Gia and Courtney, can you guys talk about your background with arts ed and arts ed advocacy? Gia, you go first.
Yeah, I'm going first. So with advocacy in general, I'm super excited because at my school personally, we haven't really had that many advocacy opportunities. And even now, I tried to bring some more in, but luckily we're able to have good funding and nothing currently that we have to advocate for. So I was a little nervous, especially because Zach was like, oh yeah, the goal is you'll run some of these meetings. I was like, what the heck? How am I supposed to run these? I've never done this before, ever. But just being able to go to all of these meetings and hear people tell their stories, it's been amazing. And it's something that I actually really love doing. Speaking about supports and appropriations, which Courtney did a lot of when I did it, it was scary, saying those big numbers that we're asking for. But yeah, so that's been my experience with it so far, and it's just been this past month that I've really been getting into it, but it's been amazing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So Courtney, what about you?
I would say I'm on a very similar page with Gia because in my school, we also haven't had a ton of advocacy opportunities, especially on this scale. And so I was same with Gia, a little nervous going into these meetings because you might imagine these representatives being so intimidating and being so scary to approach and ask for I think we asked for billions. So that's a huge number when you think of it. But when you go on and when you're actually meeting with them and talking about them, especially with something you care so much about, you just kind of you get in your comfort zone and then you realize that they're just trying to hear you out and help you too. So they ended up being actually really fun. So I'm really glad that I got this opportunity because not only was it fun to talk about something that I care so much about, but also to people who can listen and do something about it.
Absolutely. So before we get into really discussing and debating about arts at NJ and arts advocacy, everyone who is watching, please comment below. Please give us your thoughts, give us questions, because we would love to hear that from you. So with that, what are some things that you guys advocated for? What was your driving purpose? Why are arts so important to each of you? And this is just whoever starts.
Well, Courtney, why don't you talk about what you advocated for first, and then I'll try to explain them a little.
Sure thing. So I have my little cheat sheet right here to remind me, but we basically I handled the appropriations. So we asked for support for access to theater education. And with that, it was $1.6 billion to fully fund Title IV Part A. And then to support theater education for the most disadvantaged students. And that would close the achievement gap between non-minority and minority students. And then finally, to support professional development for theater educators, because that would help theater education as a whole.
Absolutely.
So essentially, for those terms, the first part was, we want theater to be involved or be included in a well-rounded education as part of the Every Student Succeeds Act. So it's a formula-funded block grant that may be used to improve access to theater education and to support not only student access, but also the promotion of constructive student engagement, problem solving, and conflict resolution. The funds may also be used to offer a broad range of enriched educational experiences, such as providing access to theater education to underrepresented, disadvantaged, or minority student populations, which is kind of why we wanted to get the money also into the targeted and areas of the most disadvantaged students. They have a little bit of a map and a configuration they use to get that money out. And then for the teachers, we want the teachers to be able to teach the best practice, and especially today with the new normal that everyone keeps talking about, the teachers are going to have to learn how to do some things a little different. So that's kind of why that money we wanted that money appropriated for teacher development.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Um,
And then Gia had the support request.
yes.
I could talk pretty much a lot about that because I've done them a lot. But there were three things mainly that we were asking for support on. The first thing was the Rebuild America Schools Act. And I think the reasoning that we gave for this is why it's really important to be supported when it comes to theater is because I know that my school has done like virtual productions over Zoom, or other schools have been able to go and like film it outside and do all that really fun stuff. But some schools don't have the access or funds, which is why it's really important that the school's open, and that's what we told them. Another thing that we asked for support on is called the National Assessment of Educational Progress. It's a long name. It's a test, and it basically measures student achievement in certain subject areas. It surrounds a bunch of them, but one of them is for the arts, and the National Assessment Governing Board actually removed the scheduled arts assessments. And again, the only national assessment that we have in the arts. So they're super important for measuring. I think it was if teachers are really like teaching what's important in that area. Zach will probably tell you guys a little bit more about that in a second. But we were asking for support to have that reinstated and funds allocated towards that because they're really important tests. And then the last thing was a situation regarding wireless mics, which I think was the most confusing one to try to explain to these people, these representatives. But it was about the Federal Communication Commission. I'm not even going to go into too many specifics, but basically we're asking for them to, I guess, reestablish a geolocation database. Basically saying you don't hear, can I get a burger and a medium fry through the mics while somebody's on stage performing like an emotional, sad scene. Wouldn't be the best thing. So that's what we were asking for.
Awesome.
And Gia, where did you get that awesome line about the burger and the fries?
It just came to me. It's like it came to me in a dream, and maybe it was in the voice of you, Zach, but we'll never know.
So the Rebuild America Schools Act was a huge ask because it goes towards both physical and digital infrastructure that they need in schools. So they broke it down in like 4 different subcategories. So it would create a $70 billion grant program and a $30 billion tax credit bond program targeted at high poverty schools with facilities that pose a health and safety risk to students and staff. So essentially just kind of getting these theaters up to where they need to be, especially if they're kind of crumbling and the infrastructure is not great. So that hopefully that would help the theaters. It would also give priority to FY22 to building infrastructure to reopen schools. It would develop a comprehensive national database on the condition of public school facilities, including performance spaces such as theaters and auditoriums. It would also expand access to high-speed broadband to ensure that the public schools have reliable and high-speed internet access that they need for digital learning. Obviously, right now, hopefully, we'll all be back in the classroom next year. That's what Governor Murphy's plan is. But things are changing every day, and if we continue to be online like we are, they're going to need some updates to the definitely the high-speed internet. The GA pretty much hit the nail on the head with the National Assessment of Educational Progress, the test. So the test was supposed to be done in 2019 for arts, foreign language, geography, and economics. So what we're asking is just to get that back on the docket and to fully fund it so we can get a good way of knowing what we're teaching and making sure what we're teaching is correct. Absolutely. And the wireless microphones, essentially, we would need a whole other session to talk just about wireless microphones. But again, Gia hit the nail on the head. We just want to know so we don't go into the wrong space, essentially.
Absolutely. So what the main things we've been advocating, we're advocating for are diversity, getting us back into, diversity options, diverse options and for diverse people. Getting us back into schools, and then the technological advancements we need to be in school. And so I'd kind of like to discuss those like broad topics, and why they're so important for arts advocacy. And then we'll get onto specific arts advocacy, like tips and tricks and things which you found have been very helpful with getting in contact with um, legislators, and then also getting the emotion across to legislators. So with that, I'd like to pitch, which one would you guys like to talk about first? You just take it and start going with either the diversity, offering diverse options, the technology, or the safety of getting back in schools.
Being an EMT, I think I could talk safety the best. Mr. Klimowski, who I don't know is joining today or whatnot, but him and Little are on the Reopen New Jersey schools or Reopen schools or however that that task force is. Or I think it's September Ready task force. I'm sorry, and they were actually
that's our task force.
Right. So they created a outdoor shows guide, and I think you talked to them about that already on your program. But Miss Little was able to use that guide to do a show. We can do theater now. We don't have to wait much longer. However, we have to do it safely. So wearing the correct mask, the social distancing, whatever we need to do but the theater has to come back. And I'm sure the girls will agree that they miss the theater, and the virtual productions are great, but there's nothing like a live show.
And for example, also I do props, and I typically spend less than $100 for my props for an entire show, and because I don't know, I'm just very good at budgeting. I don't know, but then I was given an extra 50 for when I was when I've been doing shows recently, for the safety gear, for extra cleaning, for those parameters that need to get done, because you have to buy extra things and you have to be less careful with certain things to be more careful with certain things. You can't skimp. And that is why we really need that extra money, and it's just so evident, and that's just a small example of so many big systems. So Gia and Courtney, and also anyone who's wondering, the other beautiful face that was on our poster is Chantel Hill. She was not able to make it tonight because, as life goes, something came up. But she's awesome, and she's very passionate about this as well. And we'll give our Instagram handles at the end, and I'll be sure to put hers in as well, so you can all reach out to them. So with that, Courtney and Gia, what is your take on all of this?
I think it's important to talk about like the teachers as well. I know that for my theater director and like the person in charge of like our performing arts center, she was actually furloughed. So she hasn't been getting paid or anything, or like she hasn't been active in the school. I mean, she's still been helping us organize a lot, but us students have had to take on a lot. And if I'm being honest, our theater club has come to like a point where it's really hard sometimes to get things going, because theater is such like an in-person activity, or that's how we always considered it to be. So adjusting to the virtual environment that we're in now, it's been really difficult, getting things done. We all miss Stacy, that's our director. It's been really hard. It's been amazing though, because we've been able to do virtual shows. We have a student show that's going to be directed coming up soon. But I realized that a lot of teachers are still able to teach their theater. And even at my school, we had a theater class, like an actual class dedicated, and then the teacher for that left. And then I don't think we had a theater class. And I emailed my school actually recently saying, hey, like, do we know if theater class is going to be a thing next year? Or do we know like the teacher for it? And they haven't decided on it yet. But I think it's going to be a thing. But just funding is really important is what I'll say with that, because it's been hard without, like an adult here, because of course we could do a lot. We're high schoolers. We can use our resources, but it's always helpful having like an adult voice with us, somebody with a lot of experience. And that's why funding is also really important. And it's been kind of a tough time during COVID.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thinking from the teacher's perspective is one very empathetic of you, which is very interesting. And it's just, and that just adds to the complexity of the situation. We can't go back in schools for a lot of cases. And then when we do go back in school, not only do we need the safety gear, but then we need to have that teaching. And that's why you mentioned earlier about the professional training, which is very, very important. So, Courtney, do you have a comment?
Yeah, so basically, I was thinking about talking about how important it was, especially for my school, to start getting back in person because we're very lucky to be able to start in-person rehearsals, I think a couple weeks ago for our musical. And I can just tell the difference between the community with the cast compared to our fall drama, which was all virtual and we filmed everything, compared to how it is now because it was very isolated and it was very hard to feel like that usual unity that you have between a cast that makes a performance work because of your chemistry and playing off of each other and the energy and all that. So I think that it's important that we focus our resources to helping everyone get back to school safely. So now every time we see each other, we're always so happy. The energy is just up here when we're singing together. And it's just a totally different environment. And I think that it's helped everyone mentally and just kind of have the motivation to get through the school day knowing that we have rehearsal right after school.
Absolutely. From what I've heard, well, so I've been doing this stream for a long time. For those who haven't been keeping track, it's been about 8 months. And I've met so many passionate artists, passionate teachers, and I see how passionate they are about their community and how important it is for them. And that's something we'll get into after about that it really ends up always coming back to community. Um, and that's a really beautiful point that the community is built off of that excitement that we are going to see each other and we are going to do the thing that we love, and with that not being in person and then that just not happening at all is awful.
And Jocelyn, one of the things that is part of the Theater in Our Schools month that the EDTA post is the facts about theater. And they posted a one here that sticks is most high school theater programs rely entirely on their box office revenue to support their activities. So without the box office, a lot of these schools are having trouble doing these events for thespians and whatnot because all of their funding comes strictly from their box office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I don't know how it really works for us, but I know that our box office revenue is super, super important for paying loyalties, for paying all these things which need to happen. Beside just having the passionate people, that's not the thing which always costs the most money. It's the loyalties, it's the props, it's the costumes, it's the layers of everything we need. So I want to talk a little bit about, I know we're not the greatest group for talking about diversity, but I know that that's a really important thing in talking about the underprivileged and why it's so important to get all of art to everyone. So we can maybe focus on what it's been like for each of you, and we can get more into what your art stories are later if you'd like. But I would like to hear how you can apply that and why you think it's so important, because I know each of you thinks it's so important. I know it's so important, and it's just, what are your thoughts on it essentially?
I think being in all these meetings, I've been able to hear a lot of student stories about why theater is so important. And there have been so many reasons. I mean, it really helps with mental health or anything, like when people need a safe space or somewhere to go and get out energy or just, feel accepted and be in a community that's supportive and loving. And it's just an amazing community. But it's also been important building other skills like communication. If you're backstage, like helping run crew, you got to communicate. Otherwise, people are going to be running into each other and it's going to be really messy. Or maybe with props. I've done props before. You got to tell people, don't touch this. So you kind of learn how to also set your barriers, kind of set your boundaries, which is like another skill. And just like the empathy that you get from being in theater, hearing all these people from all these different backgrounds come together and, just say why they're in theater and seeing everybody just come together to create a collaborative thing it's just amazing. I love theater so much. I love talking about this, but that's why I think theater is super important in so many different aspects, not just, as a way to perform.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. For me, I've just been lucky to be surrounded by such inclusive people who are just so amazing. And I think that it's important that everyone kind of has that opportunity because, like Gia said, it just builds your skills in school, in social skills and communication. And so, yeah, like it's, I lost my point there, but right. I found my way back. It's important I would definitely categorize myself as like a performer and an actor. So being able to kind of play different roles and imagine yourself in different shoes helps you gain different perspectives on the world and helps you kind of like think of yourself as in all sorts of environments and situations. So I feel that's helped me grow as a person a lot, and it's very important that we offer that to as many people as possible.
Absolutely.
And going off of what the girl said, theater connects everybody. You find it's very interesting that you find how many people participated in theater, as a young kid, and they went on to do so many different careers. I'm an EMT. I have a person who is on my Advocacy Leadership Network, who works at a business company. One of my friends was a realtor. So many different careers, they've grown because of theater. And I've been going through the facts that EDTA posts for Theater in Our Schools month, and this one here kind of stuck out, when we started talking about it. But in 2015, students who took 4 years of arts classes in high school scored an average of 92 points higher on their SATs than students who took only 1.5 year or less. And it's the theater, it helps students demonstrate improved confidence, creativity, resiliency, responsibility, collaboration, a sense of community. It's so important to get theater out, and that's why the Educational Theater Association started the Jumpstart Theater, to help younger students have access to theater education. And they've done so well with this program. It hasn't hit our state yet, but every year they try to grow this program. And just seeing some of the videos that they produced, like at the conferences we go to, it's amazing to see how much these kids learn, and how much a lot of what they do is better after they have theater involved.
Absolutely. I have seen so many people who, like, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're everyone, and they say, I learned how to interact with people through this art. Through all art, but specifically theater, because it puts you in such a compromising position. It puts you in front of so many people, and you have to just be there. Oh, also, we have a comment from Nancy. You're doing such a great job for New Jersey. Love EHTHS Thespians. Mrs. Portnoy, Troop 3993. Our high school musical is next week, April 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Live and film, 2 casts. So proud of our team. We're proud of your team too. It's so awesome how everyone's adapting. Like, although we do need more extra support all the time, we are adapting. This art is so adaptable. I know my school, we are doing we're filming it and then streaming it, and then we're also filming it and doing a Rocky Horror sort of projection of it. So we're having people come to our football field, sit down, and then we're going to have the screen, and then people are going to shadow cast in front of it. Like, our actors are going to shadow cast in front of it. And that's such an inventive, creative way to handle this scenario. And then everyone's going to have clear masks, which is so cool. So what are your schools doing? I know that you guys, if your schools are doing anything, I know you two are still in high school, and then Zach, you're part of a high school. So what is your school doing?
GCIT is doing a marathon over the next couple of weeks. We're a technical school, and they do a show for each grade level, and then they also do a school-wide musical. Plus, we have 2 dance concerts. So for the next 7 weeks, it's going to be a very, very busy time at GCIT. So the seniors are doing Midsummer Night's Dream, and that actually opens, and I'll get it when the girls are talking, so we can put that up there. But it's Midsummer Night's Dream for the musical, or for the senior show. I believe the junior show is Our Town. The sophomores do a series of 1-acts, and the musical is the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. The freshman show, I think, is still to be determined. I'm not sure. I'm going to look while the girls are talking.
Awesome. That's so cool. You guys do so many shows. It's amazing.
Yeah, so my school, we're doing a musical called The Theory of Relativity. And it was a I think that this is a great choice for this situation because a lot of it is individual songs or songs that like kind of connect in pieces, but that can still be done with one person on stage. So we're going to end up filming it and then putting it together and then live streaming it. And I think that in one of our meetings, I know that someone mentioned that theater people are so creative, and I feel like that's shown through all of the ways that we figured out how to get our musicals and our plays and our dramas just out there.
Absolutely. That's a really excellent point, Courtney. That's so interesting that someone mentioned that because it's so true. It's just so clear. And I participated in the virtual Thespian Festival this year, and I got to interact with the New Jersey one. I'm not going to be in the international one, though I know a lot of people are, and it's super exciting. It's coming up. And it was interesting. I took a class where he just talked about virtual streaming for the entire like hour and a half that we had, and it was so engaging and so fascinating, and it gave me a lot of pinpointers on how to stream virtually and how to put your show and your art out there so it still has the same chemistry, or as much of the same chemistry as possible. So Gia, what's your thought?
With my school, on a normal school year, we would normally do one act, a children's musical, just a normal musical, and then a play. So we would normally be doing like 4 shows or like 4 performances a year. This year, virtually, we actually have been able to get some things done. We just a few weeks ago had our first virtual performance. I'm pretty sure it was over Zoom, live on Zoom. And it was a play, and I've heard amazing things about it. I wasn't able to attend, unfortunately, but I know that they worked super hard on it. And then I mentioned this a little earlier, but we have a musical that it's not a musical, it's just like another play, but they're doing that in like a film sort of direction, which I'm going to be the editor for. I'm super excited, but they're doing, I think it's Tinkerbell that they're doing. So, or Peter Pan. Of course, I know my shows. I'm not really an actor anymore, but that's what we've been able to do. And I think they're having like a Broadway melody night where students can submit their own videos, and then one night they'll just show all of them. I think on a Zoom or something like that. So that's what we've been doing.
That's so awesome. So that's just so cool. We've been doing more showcases because of this virtual format. I think there's been a lot more content created. And then also, so GCIT, Zach sent me the dates. So will these be virtual? Will we be able to watch these virtual, or do we go to the campus?
They're actually, I believe, all going to be on. They're going to be on campus. The musical, which we're still trying to figure out how we're going to do that one, because I know we're definitely doing it in person. I think they're just looking to figure out how we can get the most people in there, just because we have such a small theater.
Yeah. So I'm going to run through the dates, and if you are interested in it, please mark it down. And then also repeating, because I see some more people have shown up, if you would like to comment and such, please do, because we would love your questions and comments. So the freshman show is the 5th it's the 25th to 28th of May. The sophomore show is the 12th to the 15th of May. The senior show is the 14th through 17th of April. The junior show is did I say the 14th or the 4th? I meant the 14th to the 17th. I don't know if I said the right thing, of April. And then the junior show is the 21st to 24th of April. Then the dance show is the 27th to the 30th of April. Then the musical is the 4th to the 8th of May. So lots of exciting things coming up there. And then ladies, if you want to send me those dates as well for your upcoming shows, that would be awesome. I know our show is the 24th, the 24th to the 26th. So we'll be streaming it virtually, and we will also be doing it in person. So come to the campus, and then also follow us on Instagram. Follow NJ Thespians. I'm sure they'll be posting. And then also Arts at NJ, I will be posting all of these dates as well when they come up, when the information is sent to me as part of our Arts in Bloom campaign. And anyone who has a show that's coming up or a showcase that's coming up, please reach out to us. Let us know on Instagram because we would love to showcase it. So for Courtney's, it's to be determined, but it will be streamed sometime in May. So that's super exciting. And we'll just follow us on Instagram to keep up with the information. So with that, I kind of want to move on to one of the next questions. What do you recommend? Why do you recommend others to begin engaging with arts advocacy? And then what do you recommend them start with?
So the why is easy. You have a voice. You should use it. Something that's been very important to me ever since I turned 18 years old was voting. I know it's something very simple as voting, but the way I look at it is people fought for our country to give us those rights to do such a thing, so we should do it. That and don't complain about going to jury duty. But some of the simplest ways to get involved, if you want to get involved here just in New Jersey, is we sponsor with Art Pride New Jersey a Democracy Works competition every year. We had 6 winners this year, which was unheard of. Art Pride New Jersey was very generous this year to help us, award these students to be able to come with us to the National Arts Action Summit. And essentially what they do is they answer a prompt, and there's 2 of them this year. And funny, we were talking about diversity earlier. The first prompt was, how does theater help bring diverse communities together? The other prompt they could choose was, what is your theater story and how has it made a difference in your life? And then they have a little bit of a short answer as well, where they talk about the importance of theater education and why they want to advocate in DC for theater arts education, and what will they bring back and help share with our state. And the good part is I have 2 juniors that kind of did the bulk of the heavy lifting with me this year, and I feel like they've learned a lot, and they're going to be able to carry the torch forward. And next year, I just got to sit back and put my feet up and let them 2 take over. Another way to get involved in our state is we do a program called Trick or Treat So Kids Can Eat, which I know Bordentown and Hightstown and Northern Burlington are all very active in. I would not be remiss if I didn't say there was no actual competition this year, but I'm a very competitive person. And for the first time ever, GCIT raised more than Bordentown, which doesn't happen often because Bordentown and Miss Morano, they do an excellent job there every year. And I guess it took a pandemic for GCIT to win, but hopefully we can get back. But we had 9 awesome schools this year, which we had more schools than we've ever had before participate this year, which was awesome. And everybody got a letter or a proclamation from their freeholders, which are now called county commissioners. I have to remember to start saying their correct term. They got one from their state legislators, and they got a statement in the congressional record by their congressional official. They'll also be getting a certificate, which is signed by myself and Miss Little, as well as Julie Theobald, who's the executive director of the Educational Theater Association, and Hans Weichert, which I believe his new title is Chief Membership Officer. Hans, if you're watching and I messed it up, I'm so sorry. But yeah, so it's a great program, and we're supported, from nationals all the way down. And we actually had a couple legislators send videos this year congratulating their schools, which I know Donald Payne did for Hightstown, and I believe Bonnie Watson Coleman did. Or I'm sorry, no, Donald Payne did it for Bayonne, and Bonnie Watson Coleman did it for Hightstown. We also had a state representative send us a video as well, which was, like I said, hasn't been done. We haven't had that much participation in a long time. Also at our festival this year, we got to have Senator Troy Singleton give us opening remarks, and then Representative Adam Telefaro give us closing remarks. It's so nice to see, that these legislators, both state and nationally, are so vested in what our students are doing.
Absolutely. And then also we just had a comment from Dennis. Thank you very much. If you are interested in seeing more from Dennis, he does a stream every Wednesday. Just really want to push that out because that is for the Solo Ensemble Festival, and it's a super cool program. And so tune in then for more information, but we're going to get back to our summit. So Gia, Courtney, why advocate for the arts? And then also how to advocate for the arts, where to start?
I think that it's important to advocate because you have something to say. You know what you care about. You deserve to express your thoughts about it, and especially to people who care and can do something to help you to grow your cause, to make it bigger. Because with us, I know I personally am just starting more this year, and when going to these meetings and hearing these other stories, I'm just learning how much other people care about it. And it makes me feel like I'm part of something that's bigger than myself and that's really something special. And it makes me even more passionate about something that I'm already so passionate about. And I think that with advocating, it just brings others together for one united cause. And it's really good for growing an already amazing community. And as for how you can, I think that it can start on a small situation, like just in your school or in your class or something like that. If there's something that you think that you should speak up about it, then you can ask your teacher or you can write an email to your principal or things like that. Just let them know what your thoughts are and how they can help and make it better.
Absolutely. So something that I always advocate for is always taking your opportunities, and that's one of them. Reaching out to your not only just state legislators, all the states and everyone, just also reaching out to those who you have direct contact with. Set up a meeting with your principal. Set up a meeting with your vice principal. Talk to them because that's their job. They're there to make your life better with this in mind. You know, they're there to give you these opportunities. So go out and engage with them. Gia, you have something to say?
Yeah, it's super important to advocate. It's nothing really hard. It could be scary at first, but it's your community. It's what you're involved in, and it's something that you love to do, which is exactly why you should advocate for it. I mean, if you want to get more attention towards it or more support towards it, nothing's stopping you. Anybody could do it, and I think that's one of the great things that I've discovered about advocacy. But I agree that it can happen on a school level. You could message your theater school teacher or maybe your director, ask if there's anything that maybe needs some advocating for. I don't know. I asked about funding or anything regarding maybe like a theater class in your school or anything like that. Or if you want to organize a fundraiser for your theater club, even that's advocating if you want to talk about your theater club. I know with Theater in Our Schools month, maybe you can ask your school to get something on the announcements every day of that month, talking about why theater is important. There's loads of opportunities and different ways to advocate that you can discover, and it starts on a small level, so you could really just go for it.
And kind of jumping in on what they said, go to your school board meeting. Your school board meetings are open to the public. Invite them to come see your shows. That goes a long way. They're the ones that kind of, in a sense, control the purse strings of your district. So they're going to be the ones that kind of help get you what you want to. So go to a school board meeting and say, hey, can we do a little performance, or why don't you come see our show? I know it's a thing that a lot of schools do is they'll take a little snippet of their musical and they'll bring it to the school board meeting and show everyone there. And then the school board member's like, wow, our kids are so talented. Like, let's support them. Let's help them get to nationals. And Courtney, I think that's kind of how you guys got to nationals the first time is, was advocating to your school board.
Absolutely. And this is something that my boss, Priscilla, who you've seen on the stream before, who's a part of Arts at NJ, and this is also something that we as Arts at NJ advocate for, is showing up to your board meetings. Like, be there, just be there, because they're gonna be like, why are you here? Why is there just a student and their parent here? Why is there just a student here? Like, they could be doing anything else in this afternoon, but you're there, and you're there to talk about something that you are so passionate about and that you love, and they will see that, and they will respect that, and they will look at it, and they will engage with it. So you engage with it, and they'll engage back. It's their job, once again. All great points from here. And I have a quote from one of my favorite movies. It's, I guess, kind of related to the recent holidays. So I watched Prince of Egypt last night, and it reminded me of a line from Heaven's Eyes. And he says, a single thread in a tapestry, though its color brightly shines, can never see its purpose in the pattern of the grand design. You have a purpose and your color brightly shines, and there is a grand design out there. There is a purpose and it's there, and you just need to be part of it because you are part of it. So there we go. That's just something that came to mind when we were discussing. So I would like to kind of discuss what are some tips and tricks you guys have for arts advocacy? What are some things which you guys engaged with or came up with throughout this process that really made you go, oh, that worked really well, and some things which you should pass on to the group?
Just have a conversation. At the end of the day, it's probably the most basic way to say this, but the legislators put their pants on the same way you do, one leg in, one leg after the other. They're just people. Have that conversation with them, and just kind of say, hey, this is what we're doing, and we really love your support. And that's kind of how the conversation gets started. I think that's the most to make it the most less scary. They're just people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very important thing to pinpoint for all situations where you're engaging with another person, especially someone who you feel is so out of reach. Courtney, Gia, did you guys learn anything new from this experience or just in general?
Oh, totally. I feel like I learned a bunch from this experience. I think it really helped when we spoke from the heart and about specific examples that we encountered, because it made it seem more real and it made it seem more personal. And they realized that these things are actually happening to us and are affecting us and so many other people. So once they realized this and kind of humanized these issues that have these fancy titles like Title One Part A, they see that it's really important, and they want to help you and they want to hear more about it, and they're going to try even harder to push what we're asking for and meet our demands.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to always talk about coming over prepared. Like, this is just kind of how I live my life, but and how I advocate people live their lives. But especially when you're in meetings, come over prepared. Like, I have like 7 tabs open right now with just information ready for this stream, and that happens every single Friday. I'm always like on the ball, ready to go. And if you fall off the ball, that's okay every once in a while. But just getting back up there and keeping on going is really important. And coming with notes, coming dressed up, coming ready to discuss and be into it is so valuable. So obviously, like, get a good night's sleep beforehand. Gia, do you have any comments?
Oh, yeah. I think it's important, especially when you're starting alone or you don't really know how to start advocating. Talk to other students or other peers or other teachers, because I assure you there are so many people that would love to do the same exact thing as you. And once you get that group together, then maybe you'll feel more confidence to actually go for it and advocate. I mean, schools want to hear from their students, states want to hear from their residents. People want to hear you. People want to hear your story. It doesn't matter if you think, oh, it's not that important, like it's not that interesting. It is. It's your life and it's what you've experienced, and people want to hear that. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. So with that, yes, no, continue.
I was just going to add, I kind of threw these two into the deep end of the pool with no paddles. I kind of told Gia, hey, listen, by the end, you're going to be running the meetings. And when I said the end, I meant like by the second meeting that she was going to be running the meetings. And she really didn't get a choice. But, when I told her I told her principal, the other day, is she's just done such an excellent job that, I don't need to say anything. I have nothing to add when they're done. And that's what I want. The legislators don't want to hear from me. I've been voting for 8 years now. I'm set in my ways, essentially. You guys are just starting to vote. So they want you on their side because they want to stay in office. And that's what it all boils down to. So, it's sometimes jumping in to that deep end without anything to help you. You just gotta, paddle like the dog. It's like the analogy of the duck. They're nice and calm on the surface, but they're paddling like heck underneath because they are so nervous.
Oh. So with that, I want to get into our arts advocacy stories in a minute, like where our passion and what the stories which we told to the legislators. But before that, I kind of want to discuss what where do you see the future of arts education going? This is like a very like hive mind question. I'm just very curious on what you guys are thinking and where you see or where you hope we're gonna go with arts education.
I'll let you two go first, and then I'll chime in.
Personally, I see it have a bigger presence in schools and electives because I know my school has been adding arts electives and theater electives, and I hope that there's more participation and more interest in them because I feel like in some cases there's this stigma against theater of that it's kind of nerdy and that it's kind of it's uncool where it's not it's one of the coolest things in my eyes, but I think that once people understand that and they realize that there are so many things in theater and there has to be something that they're going to love, that they're just going to, I think they're going to enjoy it and fall in love with it, honestly.
Absolutely. Yes, completely. That's so interesting. That reminds me of SEL, which is social emotional learning, which is what we are currently fighting to institute as like a state, but also for arts at NJ. So tune in next week because we're going to be talking about it. I don't know if it's going to be on this stream or a separate stream, but it'll be happening sometime next week. But either way, we've been talking about SEL so much recently, and it is so perfectly exemplified and so perfectly encapsulated, so perfectly well done in arts, through arts. And that is where I see it going as well, where it's going to be more and more ingrained because we're realizing now, especially, how important arts are with the lack of it. We had to lose what we loved to realize how much we loved it. And so it's just so important to see that. And now it's really like teaching us a lesson, essentially, as a group. So, Gia and Zach, what are you guys thinking about the future of arts education?
I think it's only up from here. There's no way that it is going anywhere. It's gonna stick, especially seeing how many students have come out and, talked about their theater experiences virtually and how it's affected them. There is no way that anything's going to be going anywhere anytime soon when it comes to theater education. I think it's just going to be more implemented. I hope that the stigma goes away because we are not lame. We're not lame. Y'all are just jealous. It's an amazing community. It's not going to go anywhere, and the education, I think, is, like you said, going to expand to maybe other subject or other classes. I think it's just going to expand, maybe even out of theater. So.
Yeah, especially with President Biden and his press for education and for social emotional learning. That I don't know if he's used those exact terms, but he's used phrases like it, and that now we have the federal level on our side, and it's just so many things coming together to show us how important it is. And then also I've already seen like math classes use it beside just English classes reading plays. I've seen math classes use it. I've seen all different classes use this skill. So Zach, do you want to wrap us up on this topic?
Sure. And at the end of the day, theater uses every single subject. English is an obvious. I'm not even going to get into that. Math, you have to use a calculator and a ruler to build a set. Science, you're mixing with the paint and stuff like that. History, you got to research the time period you're in. It's gym. Listen, I've seen some of the routines that the choreographers come up with. Every subject that you use in school, you learn in theater. So I don't understand where the issue lies of are we going to fund the football team or are we going to fund the theater program? And to me, it doesn't make sense of why it's always the football team that gets that. I know in Texas, which is a great thing that has come out of Texas, is any money that's spent on sports programs, the same amount of money has to be put into the arts. And I would love to see every state adopt that because Texas has some really big football stadiums. If you don't know, it's like a little NFL city down there in Texas. But they have some really awesome Broadway style theaters down there too, and that's because they believe in the purpose of arts education.
Absolutely. So with that, now I want to get into your guys's stories as we kind of round down our stream. So let's start from Courtney, go to Gia, then go to Zach, and then you guys have all heard me. So I'm probably not going to go over it because each of you has heard me, and then everyone on the stream has heard me. And then if you would like to hear it, if you haven't, we're doing a round table, a student round table sometime soon. I believe it's going to be around April 15th. So we'll keep everyone posted on that. And we always do our student stories there, and I always do mine. So you'll get to hear another rendition of it. So with that, Courtney, you go ahead.
So I started theater when I was, I think, in elementary school, barely through a week of summer camp or things like that. And then I would say my official start was in sixth grade with the musical. We did junior musicals in middle school. I did them all throughout. It was the highlight of my middle school career, I would say. It just brought me so much joy. And then when I got to high school, it's kind of that split where you have to choose between sports and theater because they conflict with their seasons and with the shows. And so I stayed on the theater path, which I think was definitely the right choice for me because my school has such an inclusive community and so many great people that I personally call them my best friends in my family. But with that, I've also gained a lot of confidence and a lot of communication skills because I know that I remember distinctly being less afraid than others or more prepared than others in when giving presentations in class, or especially when we got to our Shakespeare unit in English in freshman year. I know I was definitely ready for that one. Especially since we did Romeo and Juliet, and that fall I was in Romeo and Juliet. So I had a leg up there. And in history classes, when we act out as the figures that we're learning about, it's just things like that I'm able to implement what I've learned and make me a better student. And on the flip side, a better person because I've mentioned this before, but through acting, I've been able to put myself in a lot of different positions and understand a lot more perspectives, so I feel like it's helped me mature as a person and helped me be more understanding of the world around me. So I have theater to thank for a lot of the things in my life.
I got involved in theater as soon as I got to the middle school. I loved music, in elementary school, intermediate, like everything leading up. I remember third grade, I played Mama Bird at my choir concert, giving my other peers like little gummy worms, like just dropping them. I loved it. It was super fun. I loved it. But as soon as I got to middle school, I got involved. I loved it. We did Law and Order Fairy Tale Unit. That was my first play. I had 2 lines. I was so excited. I was wearing my little Red Riding Hood that I had to wear. My one line. It was one line. I said Carl Herbert. That was my one line, and I had never been more psyched to have that line on stage. And through middle school, I just kept going. I was in everything. I got a really good role, and then I got sick 2 days before, so I couldn't do it. I was heartbroken. And I got to the high school and I was like, I'm not really sure if I want to do theater anymore. Like, I don't know. But my best friend is also in theater. So she's like, I'm going to go to the theater meeting. Like, it's just an introduction meeting for anybody new to the school. I was like, okay, I guess I'll go too. And as soon as I got there, I was like, why the heck am I leaving this? I left that meeting more ready than ever to get back involved with theater. And that's exactly what I did. I was in every performance. I loved it. I was a big actor. I loved singing. I was not a good dancer, but I loved trying. It was just stuff like that. I gained so much confidence through it. I was very socially anxious, very timid child, but theater helped me improve with that. Performing helped me improve with that. And then sophomore year, junior year, which I'm in now, I got more involved in the tech side of things, which is what I love now. I love being run crew. I love doing lights, opening curtains. I love ushering. I just love like welcoming people into the theater. It's just stuff like that theater has brought me. It's something that I love to do. At some points, I would wake up for school. I'd be like, oh, I really don't want to go. Then the only thing getting me out of bed was that I had theater rehearsal after school. I was like, no, I got to get up. I got to go to rehearsal. And I'd get through my day and get to theater, and it just feel great. So theater has been super important to me. I've gotten as involved as I can from the start, and it's just something that I love and I hold really close to me.
That's wonderful.
So my theater story started a long time ago. I don't even know if some of you guys were alive when I started. I was kidding. You're not that young. So I was in my fifth grade show, Bebop with Aesop, and it was great. And I know, long time ago. I don't even know if I still have pictures from it. And I have to go. So, long story short, Jocelyn, we should talk about this again some other time. But I have to go save a life.
Okay, good luck. Okay, so with that leaves just Courtney, G, and I. And what's great is that we were closing down anyway. So thank you to Zach for going and saving lives. So Gia and Courtney, it's been so wonderful having you on. Where can we see you? Where can we reach you? Where can we interact with you?
You can follow me on Instagram. I believe I'm gonna check to make sure, but my username is just my name, Courtney Sabagaba with a dot in the middle. So Courtney.Sabagal.
Awesome.
You can DM me anytime.
Awesome. And then Gia?
You can also reach me on Instagram. I'm gia.anne, A-N-N-E, my middle name. Please message me if you have any questions or just want to talk. I love getting messages. It makes me feel loved. So feel free to reach out anytime.
Awesome. And then also, so Chantel, who wasn't able to be on tonight, her Instagram is Shan, SHAN _ Francisco, like Shan Francisco, and then 823. She is super awesome. She's just as awesome as the ladies you saw tonight. She's great. And so she would love to get messages as well. Any comments from the audience before we close down? And then also, I imagine you guys know how to contact me. I am NJ_STO_Jocelyn, and I love to get messages as well. And then also, you can reach me on our Arts Ed NJ Instagram because I run that as well. So, without any more comments or concerns, Gia, Courtney, do you have any last comments?
Thank you so much for having us. I've loved talking about it. It made my night. Thanks for having us.
I'm so glad.
Same with me. Thank you so much for having me. It's super fun to talk about other people who care so much, and especially with you guys. I had a ton of fun.
Oh, I'm so glad. This was great. And if you have any more questions, reach out to them, reach out to me. And then also have a wonderful holiday weekend. Have a wonderful holiday week. I hope you had a wonderful holiday week. Happy Passover, happy Easter, happy Good Friday, and good Lent. So, and also happy Holy, which was a couple days ago. So with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful night, and I hope everyone stays safe, and tune in next week to hear more about social emotional learning. Bye!